Hi, everyone. I am Eric from Eric Jackson and Willow River up here in beautiful Canada. Very excited to be with Jim Masters today. We've got a lot to talk about on Jim Masters TV coming up right now.
Hey everybody, Jim Masters here reporting for duty, and there's our special guest, Eric Jackson, joining us from beautiful Ontario, Canada. Hey, that was a great open, my friend, getting the show going, getting that positive vibe going. Thanks for doing that.
Oh, of course. Thanks for having me. I was a broadcast grad, so it came back naturally.
So you know how to do it, right?
Yeah.
So how are things in Canada right now? You having a good day? Is it warm? Is it chilly?
No, things are great now. We're finally into summer. It really took a little while this year, but it's nice, hot. I guess, in Fahrenheit, it's probably high 80s. So we're enjoying the sunshine.
Very, very nice. Well, congratulations on everything. We're very excited to have an opportunity to share, the music and a little bit about Willow River. And it's got a very interesting history to it. And you started it. You got the friends together, fellow talented musicians, and put it all together back in around 2021, right? That was the initial idea for the group.
Yeah, that's right. In 2021, middle of the pandemic, I grew up singing in choirs, and we couldn't have 60 people in a room anymore, right? So it was, what can we do to stay musically active and kind of scratch that creative itch? So I put out a call, found some local musicians that we'd actually never played together before, and we just started jamming in my backyard. We could stay distanced and play music together, and then we found out we had this great chemistry, and it turned into what it is today.
How do you describe what it is today? It's got a unique sound to it, and there's a blending of a couple of different genres that you guys have really perfected. Tell us about that.
I strongly believe that music is meant to be explored, right? So the first thing I said to all the guys when we got together was, I come from a choral background where we play around with genres, right? And we take pop music and make it a choir song, etc. So I want us to just play music that speaks to us. I want us to write music that speaks to us. And by doing that, that means maybe we blur the lines with genres a little bit. So we've got a little bit of folk, a little bit of bluegrass, a little bit of alternative country in there. And our lineup has changed a little bit as we've evolved that sound. And today we're very much kind of a acoustic string band, kind of similar to something like Alison Krauss that you might hear with those really rich harmonies and nice licks of mandolin and banjo.
That is really, really cool. And do you get a chance to tour all throughout Canada and here in the States as well? Have you had an opportunity to do that?
Not just yet. We've been kind of touring Ontario, and then we've been partnering up with some people down in the States to look at where could we maybe hit the festival circuit in 2026. So that's really the goal is branch out. We started in Kitchener, Waterloo, which is just a little outside of Toronto. Now we're playing more in Toronto, trying to get our name out there more so that we can expand into new markets.
So what was it like? That was a tough time for the world when you guys said, you know what, the world needs a little more music and some good music, and you put it all together. What was it like assembling the group? And tell us about some of the other band members that you have, the other talented artists who join you.
Yeah, of course. Putting it together was I want to say as easy as it could be to put together a group of musicians that you've never met before, right? I think everybody was really feeling that need to connect and that need to share music. So the guys that I've got with me, we've got Lucas, who's my lead guitarist, who also is a fantastic singer and does a little bit of his own side folk stuff. He actually was born and raised in Virginia, moved out to LA for a number of years, playing as a session musician before relocating to Canada with his family. So he's kind of, I call him our artistic director. He helps make a lot of really good decisions for building our blend. We've also got, banjo. We've got Johnny on banjo. He also does harmonica. He's also a great singer. We've got Peter on mandolin, who again, he also sings too. And then Stuart is our session bassist, so he'll come to us with or come with us to the larger shows and in the studio and stuff like that. But like, everybody's just on the same page. When we start playing together, the harmonies come naturally, you know, the flow and the instrumentation comes very naturally. And then when we start to, you know, maybe get a little off track or we're not sure where to go next, we've got Lucas, and he has that ear to kind of pull us back into focus.
Which I think is fantastic to have that, because you need that sometimes, because you can go, you know, it gets kind of crazy putting it all together, doesn't it?
Oh, it's nuts. And, you know, it's really easy to overthink it, right? Like, that's the biggest thing, is it's so easy to just go, I'm inside my head now, and I just can't find the next chord or the next word, or I'm just doubting our sound a little bit. It's really easy to kind of get that imposter syndrome. But I think between all of us, we recognize when one of the others is struggling. So it's like, okay, no, let's take a step back. Maybe we'll go back and play something that we know we're really good at, and we'll just level ourselves.
What inspires you to create the music? What are some of the things around you that give you the inspiration to create this great sound?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of nature, right? We like to be in nature. We like to, you know, gig and play in our backyard around the campfire just to get inspiration about just being on the land that we come from. And then other artists that give you that, like, that stop you in your track sound, right? You hear a song that has really, really tight harmonies or a great melody, and it just makes you stop and forget that the world around you even exists. So we want that. We want to make that kind of thing. We want other people to feel that way about our music.
There's an interesting background too to the name, the Willow River Band, which I think is fantastic, and it has a lot to do with ancestral as well as heritage, cultural there in Ontario. Tell us about the creation of the name and some of that fabulous, unique history behind it.
Yeah, the Willow River, that name actually came to us very, very early when we reached the point where we realized we were going to play some live shows and we needed to call ourselves something. My partner and I are both Indigenous, and we are part of a land back camp movement here in our local region, which talks a lot about social justice and the land that we are on, and trying to get that back. And so in Kitchener-Waterloo, Ontario, there's this river called the Grand River. And its original name by the original peoples of this area was Willow River, or the river with willows, right? And that's kind of been a name that has been circulating our area, influencing a lot of things, talking about trying to rename one of the parks Willow River Park. So it's a name that's really rooted in the area that we live, work on, but also the area where the band formed on, right? So we're all within that Grand River watershed. So when we were talking about names, initially I thought, well, you know, there is this group that we're part of, and the Mohawk word is Osi Gunyan Hadaje, which means Willow River. And we went, that might be a mouthful for a lot of people to say. So why don't we just keep it in English, and we'll say Willow River.
I like that. It's a great idea, and it really pays homage to, you know, the culture and the heritage. One thing that I noticed, I was on a television shoot professionally in Canada last year, and we were filming up in the great city of Edmonton, and that was my first time to Edmonton. Matter of fact, the first time I was that far north in Canada, and we were warmly welcomed. And one thing that we learned while there had nothing to do with the feature news story that we were doing, but just in conversation. I think even Canada is further ahead with it all than we are here, in terms of even the wording and how you say Indigenous versus even saying the word Indian, things of that nature. I think that's beautiful. It seemed to be further along with it, and just the recognition and the respect, and that's very important.
Absolutely. I mean, the recognition has to come first. And I think that is one thing that most people here have gotten down, right? You know, going to the preferred name Indigenous versus Indian or Aboriginal, right? And that's, you know, people have respected that groups have requested that that's how they're referred to. So I think we did reach that point pretty quickly of we're acknowledging that some things need to change. Now we just need to take that next step as a country and as a civilization to make sure that it's not just talk, and to make sure that we're actually making good on our promises.
Exactly right. Exactly. I think it's again a beautiful thing. The band's journey, as we were saying, began in 2021 when you, singer and songwriter extraordinaire Eric Jackson, fueled by that deep passion for storytelling through music, you assembled a group of like-minded musicians who shared that vision, which is always a good thing, for that blend of country, folk, and alternative rock. And the name, as you say, pays homage to the name of the Grand River in the Waterloo Region of Ontario, Canada. And with the rich vocals, as everybody says, and the smooth harmonic sounds, those harmonies that just blend so beautifully together, Eric, backed by the sweet sounds of those instruments that you've been mentioning, the banjo, mandolin, guitar, and upright bass. It all puts together a unique sound that, just in hearing it myself in preparation, for the show and all, and being familiar with you guys beforehand, it's something quite special. How did you master that sound? And again, congratulations on it, and the new music that's coming out that we wanted to talk about too.
Yeah, it's I think I always kind of had that in my heart, that if I was going to play something outside of what I was comfortable doing, being a choir boy my whole life, that it be the type of music that I would listen to connect, to ground myself, to be calm, right? And what that really comes back to is those tight harmonies. Like, that's the thing in music that gives me that shiver, that chill in my spine, right? So it was very important that I could find musicians that were willing to play around with our voices. And all of us have various vocal ranges, so we spent some time going, okay, well, what if you took the higher part, and what if I took the lower part here? And we just played around until we were really in that pocket of everybody's comfortable with what they're singing, and that gives the sound a very natural sound, right? Like, that we're not straining, we're not trying to sing something we're not enjoying or anything like that. So I was lucky enough to find like-minded musicians that love similar genres, love singing, are really passionate about finding those really cool harmonies.
So for you, like you said, being the choir boy and now putting together your own group, was that something that was a dream of yours? Did you always hope one day you would have your own band or be part of one, or even maybe a symphony orchestra? Was it something that you dreamed of and it came to fruition, or did it just sort of develop on its own?
It was something that I think when I was younger, I really dreamed about doing, right? Like, in high school, I played around with just jamming with some of my friends at home. And we always said, oh, we're going to make this a real band and do something. And I think, honestly, a lot of it was a confidence thing, right? I felt, I'm so used to singing in a group. Taking a solo in a choir is, you're putting yourself out there, but you're still with 40, 50, 60 other people. So it's a little more comforting, and the spotlight isn't completely on you. So I kind of pushed that aside, right? And I kind of went, yeah, I'm never going to be comfortable doing that. And then it was throughout the pandemic that I realized, what, it's time to try that again, because it's either that or it's no music at all, or it's me at home with my guitar, and that's great. But I wanted more. I wanted that fulfilling kind of putting things together with a group again. So I decided, okay, what, we might be a little awkward to start. I might be a little nervous, but we're just going to give it a go.
Good thing you did, because everybody gets a chance to hear the music and hear, the talented group of you and company. What was the very first instrument that you picked up as a kid?
It was guitar. It was guitar. My grandfather collects a lot of guitars. He's not the biggest player, but he really, really appreciates a good quality instrument. So when I was about 7 or 8, he just said, just try it, just give it a shot. And so I stuck with that most of my life. Never took any formal lessons. I wouldn't call myself a lead guitarist by any means, but it's something that I really enjoy picking up in the band as kind of a rhythm roll, and then just, around the campfire with friends.
A lot of times people say when bands come together, you become, like brothers or sisters. You become really, it's like family, because there's so much that goes on behind the scenes to put it all together, the studio work, if you go tour, being on stage, what have you. There's a lot of exhilaration, but a lot of intensity that goes into it. And you become, in this case, like brothers. Is
Mhm.
that sort of the familial feeling that you have with you and the gang?
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's just because that sound with us came so naturally that we do lean on each other, right? Like everybody, there's no judgment in our group. We come from very different walks of life. Our age range is crazy, but it never feels that way, right? It just kind of feels like we've been playing together for years. We know a lot about each other. We know what makes each other tick, the things like that we know you want to stay away from, or anything like that. And it's very collaborative, which is super important to me. I don't ever want to be that musician that goes, my name is on the band, so this is the direction we're taking, right? Like we respect each other so much that everybody will bring up an idea of, let's try this, let's cover this song, you name it. And we always try it, right? We might not always do it, but we always try it and then discuss together. So everybody really does have a voice.
Who are some of the people that you've always admired coming up? Other bands, other individual artists, even from different genres of music. Are there
Yeah.
people that have always inspired you as well, Eric?
Oh yeah. I think like the number one for me has been the Chicks, right? Formerly the Dixie Chicks. I guess because of those harmonies, right? That's one that I really grew up listening to their music. I've been on almost all of their tours. I've gone to see them. We covered one of their songs on our initial album back in 2022. Actually got their guitarist, I got in touch with him and he showed them the song, the cover of their song, and they gave us some feedback, which was amazing. Alison Krauss in Union Station, again, just the instrumentation of that group has always been extremely inspiring for us. And then there's also a local or a Canadian musician, Amanda Marshall, who is definitely much more pop rock. And I've always been drawn to her sound because it is kind of, as I described earlier, we're not going to stick to perfect genre. We're going to just push it a little bit, a couple different directions. And so her range of music is so vast. So I've always grown up listening to her music, being in awe of her writing and her vocals. And just, again, that like, oh, this is pop. Oh, no, this is rock. And we're kind of all over the place. And I love that experimentation.
That's what's great, is to have the opportunity to experiment, play with it, tweak it, see where it lands, which is awesome. Do you have a preference? Do you like being in the studio with the guys and creating, or do you prefer to be on stage performing with the audience, which you guys have done gloriously as well?
Yeah.
Or is it you just love it all?
I mean, I do love it all. I very much love the playing live, of course. It's easier when you've got an audience to maybe connect emotionally to the music, when you can see people, especially when someone will come up to you after and say, like, wow, like those lyrics spoke to me. But I also really like the creativity of being in the studio. So I try to, whenever we have downtime, it's like, you know what, even if we don't have something perfectly polished, let's take it to the studio and let's start working on it. Because sometimes the studio environment is actually what brings together that like final aha moment of wow, and then we're ready to put it down because we're already there. So I think it is a little bit of a mix of both. I just like music in my life. I want as much of it as I can possibly get.
We came over to your house right now when we went into your iPod or boombox, whatever it is, car stereo. What would be in there? What would be in your repertoire?
It would be all over the place. You would be getting a lot of the Chicks, a lot of Alison Krauss, but then you're going to get a sprinkling of a lot of show tunes. There's going to be some musical stuff in there. There's a new musical, Death Becomes Her. That whole soundtrack is going to be playing on repeat. And there's a little bit of rap, a little bit of electronic. It's honestly like anything that gives you get that boost of serotonin from listening to it, right? Like I'm not bound to one particular genre. So if you enter my playlist, you're preparing yourself for quite a ride, because you might go from like super fast electronic dance music all the way down to a ballad by Celine Dion in 2 seconds.
So it's a trip around the world, basically.
Yes.
Now, you mentioned the show tunes, things of that nature. Is Broadway something that is in your vision? Is that something you'd love to be a part of?
I would love to do, especially a musical like Rent. I'd really, really love to do something like that. It just comes down to the dancing. I am a singer, I am a writer, I have
Not,
rhythm, but I'm not a big dancer.
but not exactly the dancing part.
Yeah.
Well, you can just, you could always
Learn.
practice, 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 get you to Carnegie Hall, right? So,
Exactly. Yeah.
so, so the very first instrument for you, and then how many instruments can you play?
Really just guitar. That is like, because singing has always been my big
The
thing. So
first,
guitar
that's
was just
yeah.
that accompany yourself kind of thing.
Acoustic and electric, all kinds.
Acoustic and electric. Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic. So you all have jobs elsewhere from the group too, right?
Mhm.
How are you able to manage the kind of schedule and intensity that putting
Yeah.
music together, and of course
Mhm.
albums and new music and EPs and everything? How do you guys balance that all out?
Yeah. So the first thing we do is, anytime we are planning something, whether it's a show or time in the studio, we're always doing our best to work around each other's schedules, acknowledging that we would love more than anything to do this full time, but we also have to take care of our families. A couple of us have young kids; those are always going to come first. So we're really mindful of each other's time, and we try to maximize our time together by, oh, we need to do a photo shoot and we're also doing rehearsal this night. Let's just do them all together so we don't have to try to find more time. But we're also blessed with, one of our members is retired, so he's pretty much good to go whenever he's not traveling. And a couple of us work for some tech companies, so we work from home. So there's been that discussion of, if we did need to do a 2 or 3 week trip, go on the road or something, we would be able to take our laptops with us and get our work done until hopefully we reach that point where we can replace our salaries with music.
Yeah, exactly. We were talking with a Grammy-winning songwriter and composer and musician last night, and one of the things I asked him was the digital world and the analog world.
Yeah.
Do you like both? A lot of people are re-releasing things out on actual vinyl now, which
Mhm.
is kind of trendy. And believe it or not, I've even heard cassettes
Yeah.
are trying to make a return as well. I still have all mine,
Yeah.
but I've heard that even cassettes are trying to make a return
Mhm.
as well. How do you feel about all that digital and analog things of that
Yeah.
nature?
I think, obviously digital is a necessary evil sometimes, right? Because it's very easy to rip off. It doesn't pay very much, but you kind of have to have that presence, or people they're never gonna experience your music. You might never be heard around the world, right? So it gets you places really fast, but nothing beats the sound of vinyl, right? I have a record player. I buy all of my favorite albums, past and present. I get them on vinyl. I would love to press our newest music on vinyl at some point as well. Cassettes, I don't know about. I haven't quite jumped back on that bandwagon. Obviously, listened to them as a kid a lot, but I think, vinyl is my go-to when I really want to immerse myself in the sound. Digital is that one that you just have to be there to stay out in the world.
Now, for folks that are watching for the first time and learning about you and learning about the Willow River Band, um, are you doing primarily your own material, or is it
Mhm.
covering other material, or a mix of both?
It's a pretty good mix of both. Right now, we're definitely focused on writing some more originals. Up here in Canada, it's a lot easier to get on radio with originals over covers. So there's a lot of indie stations that will take original music. So we are focused on trying to get more of that out there. What we've released in the past has been kind of a 60% original, 40% cover split. And of course, we always like to have some crowd pleaser covers in our arsenal whenever we're doing live shows.
That's great. So when you are doing the shows, what are they asking for? Is there a few that you have to do them?
Yeah. They're always asking for John Denver Country Roads. They're always wanting to hear that kind of stuff. Zach Brown Band is another one a lot, things like
Mm,
Chicken Fried, that they want those types of things. We also quite often our audience has compared our harmonies to the Eagles. So we
wow,
started doing some
really?
Eagles tunes as well, right? Just to kind of play around with that a little bit. So those are usually our go-tos.
So you have a good time with the audience when you're on stage too, huh? You get them involved and they're all excited. And it's a
Yeah.
good vibe and good feeling that's happening.
As much as I possibly can. I really admire artists that connect with the audience. From the time they're doing bar shows to the time they're selling out stadiums. Those ones that still make time to make eye contact, crack a few jokes with the audience and stuff like that. So, that's what I want to keep. So I'm trying to be very mindful of interacting with people because you are nowhere without your audience.
That's right, exactly. They are the ones that are supporting and showing up and buying the tickets and buying the material and you're very cognizant of that, right? That's a good way to be to because a lot of people get so focused on, the
Mhm,
music or the show of it all, but it is show business, but
mhm.
uh really respecting and honoring and celebrating with the fans who enjoy what you're doing, your output is essential. Some people they lose track of that as they
Yeah.
get bigger and time goes on, but it seems like you've always been cognizant of that.
Absolutely. As we get more opportunities and bigger opportunities, it still comes back to that. Like every time I take on a new show, maybe it's the biggest show we've ever played, I'm still me. And I want that to remain that way forever. I want to always be honest and open with people and connect with people. I don't ever want to be seen as somebody that doesn't appreciate, because I've worked hard, right? And I appreciate the people that have supported me, and I'm never going to stop doing that.
How do you so when you take a look at, the success,
Mhm.
I would imagine the feedback you get is great when you hear from fans, when you hear from people who are supporting you in the way that they are. Must make you feel real good and probably surpass any expectations you might have thought you had.
It does, and it also gives me it boosts that confidence. Like I said, there's sometimes it's easy to get in your head, and then you have those moments where somebody says a song really spoke to them, or just wow, those harmonies were amazing. It gave me chills, something like that, where I'm like, yes, that's what I want out of our music. I want because I get that out of music. I want people to
Mhm.
get that too. That is what tells me like, yeah, we're on the right path.
Is there a listener that you have in mind, somebody that is a supporter that you have in mind, or is the music really geared towards everybody, all ages, just whoever appreciates good music and having a good time while they're listening?
Yeah, I think it's everybody, of course, but specifically it's people like myself who are neurodivergent, right? Who really do sometimes fixate on music. Sometimes music is their way of getting through a day, getting through the good and the bad emotions, right? So that is always top of mind. That is me. That is what I get out of music. So I do have, of course, everybody. I want everybody to enjoy the music, but that's really an audience that I relate to.
I understand that too. I often say, I don't smoke,
Mhm,
but I often say music is my cigarette. What
mhm,
I get out of music and the ocean.
mhm.
The ocean is something very soothing because we're not far from it here and just grew up on the coast. So the ocean speaks to me, the rhythm, the tide, just the beauty of it, the sun rising and setting in it, and just the power of it. But music, same thing. The music for me, when it's always on. It's always around. We grew up in a house where the music was always there, even holiday time, Christmas music was always going. I mean, just being surrounded early, digging into my parents' collections, and we were playing that, scratched up a lot of the records, but we
Yep.
were able to find them as CDs then and give them as gifts. I
Yep.
scratched up your album collection then, but here's the
Yep.
CDs of it, Dad or Mom. But some of that early exposure to some very good music. And I think, it's really interesting when you think about it because if you have an opportunity to reach people in all these different age groups and with music that really speaks to you, and like you say, music for you is your go-to, it's very powerful, it's very healing, it's a universal language as well, and it can get you through some interesting times in your life, but also trigger some fabulous memories too, right?
It absolutely does. There's songs where it's almost like a certain smell, like that just takes you back to one particular moment in time, where you first heard that song and what you were feeling, and it all comes flooding back, right? And that is the power of music, right? It's that universal language, as you said, and it's that thing that just, while we're listening to music together, while I'm singing and you're watching or whatever it might be, we're not, political opponents. We're not concerned about our sexual orientation, our gender, whatever, right? We are in the moment listening to the notes and the harmonies and appreciating it. There's no other agenda involved.
Right, exactly. It's the music speaks for itself. And I think your pooch there in the background agrees.
He agrees. Absolutely.
Was he auditioning for you?
He's always trying to. He would
A
love
real
to.
ham, right?
He is. Yeah. Yeah.
He'd love to be right there on your lap right now. We've had that happen. We've had
Yeah.
people where the dog jumps on the lap, the bird lands on the head. We had one that in New York. It was a Broadway performer, and the child was in another room with the father, her husband, and was playing with his drum set and talking to grandma on FaceTime or something. And he just wasn't having it that she was a guest on our show, and we were in the midst of a good conversation about everything. So he comes running out of the room. His father tries to grab him, and he yanks the headphones off of her while she's on camera right here. She has to get up, excuse herself, bring him in there, because he was on with the grandparents, and he wanted her to be there as he plays his drums for the grandparents in Florida or what have you. So we've had all kinds of things. How often do you guys get together?
Yeah, I would say during the summertime, at least once a week, right? It's either we've got a lot of gigs lined up, or we're just trying to, learn as many new songs as we can in a short period of time, so that we keep our shows fresh, especially when, sometimes in our area we might perform for the same audience a couple times in a summer. We want them to have something different when they come to see us again. And then in the winter time is when we will, we'll kind of relax. We enjoy the holidays with our families. We'll write. Sometimes we'll get together and do a writing session for a few hours, or sometimes we'll, just get some ideas out at home, and then we'll bring them next time we're together. But summer is really our busy time. Obviously, patios are open. People want to hear live music.
Is everybody spread apart, or are you guys within range of each other?
We're all within range. All of us are within this Waterloo Region area. I'm about 20 minutes outside of the city. The rest of them are actually in the downtown core. And then we do have one member that's about 30 minutes out, a little closer towards Toronto. But we're all within a half-hour drive of each other, right? So it's very easy to come together.
So do you crisscross Canada when you're performing, and have you come to the States as well for performances?
Not the States yet. No, we've just been up here in Canada, primarily just in Ontario for the time being, but we are looking at getting more into the States next year.
Oh, they would love you. Yeah. Especially Nashville would just swallow you guys up, and New York and Chicago and really everywhere, I think, but especially Nashville, places like that with the sound. Yeah. How about Europe too? Any plans to go over to Ireland or England?
Yeah.
Because they love the genres of music that you touch upon.
I would love to go to Ireland. My vocal coach is actually from Ireland. She's from Celtic Woman. And so I would love to go over there. Because she's told me so many great things about the music industry over there, and how people appreciate that folk sound. We also get a lot of airplay in Australia. That's been one country that has picked up a lot of our music right from the get-go for the last 3 years. So I would love to, at some point, when it makes sense to spend some time down there. We actually had one lady that came to an art festival in Ontario. She was visiting family, and she had heard us on the radio, and then she saw this art festival, and we happened to be playing at it. And so she specifically made sure that she came to the night we were playing, and she shared that with us after the show. And she was like, I came all the way from Australia to see you. And I was like, what? No way. And then she told me, she's like, oh, I was already here, but then I saw you were playing, and I had heard you on the radio back there. So I had to make sure I saw you while I'm down here, because I don't imagine you going to Australia just yet. So that would be another one that'd be really great to do.
That would be cool to visit down under, right? Australia, New Zealand, those areas. They would love it too, I don't doubt, right? So you got some new music out, and congratulations on it. Just piling it on, and I think that's fantastic. The
Mm.
new music, which is really exciting, has a storyline to it as well,
Mhm.
live at Halo Studio. Tell us about that. It's that latest release, and
Mhm.
congratulations on it.
Yeah, thank you. That was one I'd actually wanted to do this kind of release for a while. So I wanted it to be raw, uncut, off the floor without an audience, right? I wanted it to be nice, high quality, so that we could make sure that it was radio friendly and it was going to do well on streaming platforms. But I wanted it to be, one take. I wanted it to be the sound that you would get if you come to one of our shows, right? So it was important that we could isolate as much as possible so the sound was nice and clean, but still be within the same room. So there were a lot of mics around us to make sure that they could capture every angle, every instrument, every vocal. But we were all standing in a semicircle for that whole thing. And a couple songs we did it once or twice, but there's no splicing. It's all one take. This is exactly how we sound. And that's what I really, really wanted to do. 'Cause that's my favorite type of music. I know a lot of engineering goes into stuff, and that's just part of the industry. But I love when you go to a show and you're just like, it's basically like the record. I love that feeling. So that's what we wanted to do with this one. So we hit up a studio in Hamilton, Ontario, called Halo Studio, and they had the setup and the ability and the tech and the experience to do an off the floor cut. So we spent a whole day there and did a couple of our originals and a few of our favorite covers to play.
What a great name, Halo Studio,
Yeah, right.
huh?
Yeah,
It's almost destined to be.
I
But
know it flows.
and it's available now on all the streaming platforms and everything, which is great. And what has the response been so far, Eric? People loving it, huh?
Yes, and people giving me the feedback of exactly what we went in to accomplish, of like, this is exactly how you guys sound. Like when I've heard you live, whether it's before this came out or since it came out, people are going, hey, that's, you guys sound great, sound exactly like you do on the album. And I can say that was intentional. That's what I wanted you to get out of that. Even maybe tiny mistakes or not. That's so funny when I mention that to people. I'm like, mistakes and all. They're like, what mistakes? I'm like, I hear some things that I'm like, oh, I would have polished that up, but the listener never really hears that. We're our own biggest critics, right? So it's great to get that.
Absolutely. Well, it feels like that you really like to keep an authenticity. While you have all the technology available to you that you can use to
Mhm,
sort of sweeten it up
mhm,
and add to it, you still like to keep the real authenticity, almost as if the folks are right there with you as you're playing for them.
yes, absolutely. As much as humanly possible. Even there's a local studio that we generally perform at or record at that wouldn't have the means to do what Halo Studio did. But when we record there, we go, okay, can we get ourselves? They have separate isolation rooms. There's glass between them, so we can see each other. So even though we're not in the same room, we can still play off each other a little bit. So that's my preferred way for everything. Even if we're going to do it in multiple takes and splice it later, I like us to have that emotion of being together when we record.
Were you doing that at all online? A lot of people during the
Mhm.
pandemic, I always
Yeah.
whisper that because YouTube goes crazy when they hear it. They were doing that. Somebody would be here, there, and they'd all be in the stream together, all playing, practicing, rehearsing. Did you end up doing that as well?
We did rehearse a little bit. Yeah, there was some times where, particularly up here in Ontario, we got shut down multiple times.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
during a couple of those, that was definitely, or there was one time where I had actually tested positive and I was feeling fine. So I just said, I'm still down to rehearse, but I probably shouldn't be with you guys. And so we would do that virtually there. A lot of platforms have gotten a lot better at, not having that latency issue that we used to have. So we were able to use Zoom and do pretty good rehearsals that way. But we didn't do any like performances through that.
Right. There's nothing like studio and being there, live. It's
Yeah.
just the sound quality is
Mhm.
superior on many levels. That's great. And again, it all came together during that time, which is amazing. So and you guys are rising stars, and the trajectory is whoosh in this direction, which is fantastic.
Mhm.
Um, it isn't just only a living, right? We actually have a song here, and
Yeah.
that's the title. We'll play some of that here for our viewers. We welcome everybody watching all around the world. Jim Masters here in the New York area in the United States, and our neighbor to the north, Eric Jackson, the Willow River Band. It's his baby, created this whole thing with them, brought in top talent, is here sharing the story of the band and his background as well. Tell us a little bit about this song, Only a Living.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this one was one of the first ones that I wrote like a real world experience of my own. I'd been working at a really large tech company here in Ontario for about 5 years. And, we got hit with a really big round of layoffs. We could see it coming. They tried to grow too quickly in a short period of time. And so I unfortunately was part of that layoff. And I was feeling a little spicy about it, right? It wasn't sitting well with me. I'd poured a lot of myself into that. And I think that was the moment that I realized I was like, it's at the end of the day, you are a number, and there is a combination of numbers that need to happen to keep this company in business. And it had nothing to do with performance or personality or anything. So I called up my friend who's another musician here in Ontario. Her name's Jessie T. And I just said, hey, I'm mad. We need to write. And we sat down and she's like, tell me what just happened. I told her everything and I ranted. And then we just wrote this song in one afternoon.
That is so cool. Only a living. And in a way, that's what it is. It doesn't stop you from doing you and moving on. You had the experience and you take it, and gives you a little more time to even do the music and other things as well, which experience life. And that's great. And you found your calling with this too, which I think is awesome. Here's some of that right now, everybody, with Eric Jackson. This is Eric Jackson and the Willow River Band, Only a Living.
It's only a job, it's just a pain in your neck. And at the end of the week, the bank looks sweet, but you're digging your grave for a paycheck. Nine to five ain't your whole life, 16 hours left in the day. That suit and tie by design make the years just fly away, and that just ain't you. You're made for so much more, and there's a big old world to see, and your time, it ain't for free. It's only a job, it's just a pain in your neck. At the end of the week, the bank looks sweet, but you're digging your grave for a paycheck. The time you waste ain't getting it back, and tomorrow it ain't a giving. It's only a living, but you ain't living. Some people, that cubicle is what it's all about. Yeah, I got bills to pay, but what can't be replaced are the ones I can't live without. That just ain't me. And I'm made for so much more, and there's a big old world to see, but my time, it ain't for free. It's only a job, it's just a pain in your neck. At the end of the week, the bank looks sweet, but you're digging your grave for a paycheck. The time you waste ain't getting it back. No, tomorrow it ain't a giving. It's only a living, but I ain't living. It's only a job, it's just a pain in your neck. And at the end of the week, the bank looks sweet, but you're digging your grave for a paycheck. The time you waste ain't getting it back. No, tomorrow it ain't a giving. It's only a living, but I wasn't living. No, you ain't, we ain't. It's only a living, but it ain't living.
really nice.
Thank you.
Really nice.
It's
Great
only a
sound. Yeah,
job.
there it is.
It's
Yeah.
just a pain in your neck.
It can be a pain in your neck. Yes, for
Yes.
sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is fantastic. So that was really telling your story, right? Sort of
Mhm.
expressing it. Music is a great way in which you can, a lot of people can relate to that song, especially with all the craziness going on in our world right now.
Mhm.
But you like songs that really get to the heart of the matter, huh?
I do, and I like songs that remind you, just sometimes don't take life so seriously because you've only got one life. You might as well spend it doing things that bring you joy, right? And one of those things, you got to work, you have to do it, so you might as well enjoy doing it. But don't take it so seriously because it's only one small part of what makes you you.
What are some of those blessings and joys in your life that keep you motivated, keep you going, keep you creating and connected in the way that you are, Eric?
Definitely my family, right? I mean, I've got a wonderful husband. We've got a toddler as well. And he not only brings me joy, but keeps me on my toes a lot of the time. And, we've got 2 dogs and we live in the country. And it just doesn't get better than that for me, right? We're in nature all the time. It's nice and quiet. There's no smog and pollution and all that in our air. We see the stars at night. And those are the things that, no matter how stressful the day was, those things put everything back into perspective. You can start fresh.
So you have a lot of inspiration around you and a lot of blessing and joy in your life. And I'm sure the other guys in the group do as well. And you all have your unique personalities and you come together and you
Mhm.
make all this great music, which is fantastic. I see a lot of really cool things
Mhm.
coming your way
Thank you.
as you guys just continue to make this great music. I mean, the whole name too, Eric Jackson and the Willow River Band.
Mhm.
It sounds like you guys have been around for 30 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It works. It really works. And each of you talented in your own way. Each of you have your own contributions to the group as well. And we're the lucky ones that you put it together, and congratulations on everything. We've been mentioning the website as well, and that's a terrific place you can go to learn more about the group and other things that they're doing, and dates for tours and more music. And again, this is out and available now live at Halo Studio on all the major platforms as well. You can download it, stream it, enjoy it, and support Eric and the guys, because it's some really good stuff. It's feel good stuff. Just even hearing that song, it makes you feel good. You know what I mean? It makes you say, it's not challenging you or threatening you or getting you upset. It's just saying, hey, look,
Yeah.
life can be crazy. Life can be upside down, but it's all how you look at it. It's all your perspective. And you can hear the various instruments in there too that just really blend and tell the story even more deeply. It's great stuff, Eric. It really, really is.
No, I'm so glad you feel that way. That's exactly what I want people to take away, right? We're here to make music that makes people feel good.
Exactly. Continued success with everything, and keep us posted. And when you are here in the States, here in the Northeastern part, like New York, Boston, what have you, certainly let us know. We'll come and root you guys on. We'll be there clapping and standing and jumping around and having a good time with you. Because I know the concerts that you put on, people are like, they feel invested. They're involved. They're having a really good time with the music and you guys, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's where we want to play. We want to play where people are really enjoying it, where they're into the music. They're there for a reason. They're checking out new artists that are going to make them feel good, and that's how you find your new favorites too, right? So that's we go to places where people are into it.
When I was in Canada in Edmonton last year on that television shoot, the first thing people always said before we even arrived with the camera crew, you have to have the poutine. You have to have the poutine. I was like, the poutine? What's the poutine? What is that? Sounds very fancy and expensive.
Yeah.
And it was, it was good stuff with the cheese and all.
Absolutely. You gotta have the poutine, you gotta have the maple syrup.
Yes, we had the maple syrup
Yeah.
too, and they took us to a brewery, and we had some wonderful beers, and it was just really very very nice, a good experience. Uh, Continued success, my
Thank you.
friend, and best to you and the gang. And come see us again, as I always say to all of the guests here on the Jim Masters Show series. Keep the porch light on for them. So we're going to keep the porch light on for you. And you're welcome to join us at any time. Spread the word about our show as well. And I hope you enjoyed the time with me as much as I have with you, Eric.
I did so much. Thank you for having me today.
It is our pleasure, and music to our ears. Come see us again, and you be well. And thanks for joining us, my friend. And congratulations on the new music and everything else in your life. Some good things are moving in the right direction.
Thanks so much, Jim.
Thank you, Eric. Eric Jackson, founding member and creator of Eric Jackson and the Willow River Band. What a great conversation. And as we call these conversations, not really interviews. Interviews are, pre-scripted questions, and it's just reading off the questions. We have conversations here. And Eric is very, very talented. And so are the guys with him, the supporting cast. And good stuff, right? You learned about a group maybe that you didn't know about, and now you're going to seek out all their music. Again, it is all available, and you can go to all the major platforms. The newest, of course, Live at the Halo Studio is available now, which is really, really cool. Hope you guys enjoyed this conversation and learning about the group. We always bring all kinds of cool things your way, and we've been doing that for a long time here at the Jim Masters Show. If you enjoyed this episode, well, we encourage you to celebrate what's happening here at JMS too. Give this episode a thumbs up like on our YouTube channel. There's a thumbs up button there, or it looks like a thumbs up. Make sure you hit the thumbs up. Thumbs up. Share this on your social media, and also subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. The show is the Jim Masters Show, and the channel is Jim Masters TV. Leave a comment, drop a comment below for us as well, right down there. Let us know what you enjoy about our series and what you'd like to see on the show. And what did you enjoy about the conversation with Eric, very, very talented Eric Jackson here on the program. Really cool. Our special guest on this episode of the Jim Masters Show. Once again, as I always say, everybody, thanks for all the great comments. We love having you here. We love your spirit and your energy in supporting our series, our entertainment, lifestyle, celebrity talk show series. Don't forget, you can see in the archives hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of episodes with celebrity friends and special guests from Hollywood and Broadway, television, film, music, stage, comedy, sports, culinary arts, everything we have here at our talk show series. So you can see it all, and you can see it again on the Jim Masters Show. We recently hit our 5th anniversary, well over 1,300 episodes in our 5th anniversary. We've had so many amazing celebrity friends and guests who've stopped by to send us their wishes. And here's one that she's a very talented lady. She is a music legend, music icon, a dear friend of ours, and she was on our show several times. And she had some wonderful wishes about the show and the 5th anniversary and more. So we figured we'll sprinkle that in since it's been a music theme. Take a look at this.
Hi, Jim Masters. Melissa Manchester here, wishing you a heartfelt congratulations on the 5th anniversary of the Jim Masters Show. Commander of the Levities, may you have a splendid celebration. Congratulations once again.
Isn't that cool? Melissa Manchester. We thank her very much. And Tony Orlando, the legend, of course, who's a dear friend of ours, he had some wonderful words he wanted to share as well.
Well, Jim Masters, 5-year anniversary. Congratulations. Let me just share this with you, okay? We're living in a podcast time. Hundreds of millions of podcasts. And I've had the opportunity to do many of those. I just want you to know that you made me welcome. You knew what you were talking about. We became friends from the very moment we started our interview, and we'll continue to be friends. I'm so happy for you. 5 strong years. And everybody I speak to, those people who watch the interview on your podcast, and my buddies and friends who have done your podcast, we all agree you're very special. Thank you for thinking of me and always having me part of your podcast. And anytime you ever need me, please call me or want me to be on. It's a privilege to be on your show. God bless you and continued success to one of the best in the industry. God love you, Jim. Congratulations. 5 big ones. Yes, sir.
The one and only Tony Orlando. You know, we were talking about Celtic Thunder, Celtic Woman, and all the friends that we have here at the show. Many I knew well before we started the Jim Masters Show series because of my work on PBS as a host. Of course, one of our fan favorites and a dear friend of ours that wanted to share something. And we showed these. If you didn't see the 5th anniversary celebration, it was amazing. Just did it last week. Our 5th anniversary was actually early May, but it took us about a month to put the whole thing together. So we did something special. Our buddy Neil Byrne from Celtic Thunder, who's been with us many times, wanted to share these words.
Well, Jim, my friend, I want to wish you a very, very happy 5th anniversary for your amazing show that has brought us all such joy over the years. I remember when you first started off, and through those dreaded COVID years, you brought a ray of sunshine to us all, and I thoroughly enjoy jumping on your show. Every time I'm going out on a tour, or there's an album release or something like that, you're always first to say, come on, and let's talk about it. And it's always a great, lovely, natural, flowing conversation. That's why I love your show so much, and I love you so much. Jim, thanks a million. Have a wonderful anniversary, okay? We'll be holding up a glass, a beer, or whatever it is, a Prosecco or something to the Jim Masters Show today, okay? So, good on you. Talk to you very soon. Take care.
I love that expression. Good on you. Good stuff. Thank you to Neil and to everybody. There's many more. You can see them on our anniversary show, and really cool stuff. We're still basking in the glow of the anniversary show. Thanks for being with us. As we always say, don't forget to take care of one another, love one another, and don't forget to take time to do the very same for yourself. If you're always doing it for others, like I tend to do, it's a family trait, make sure you take time for yourself too. It's important to do that so you have the energy to be able to take care of others. And Jim Masters here, thanking you for your time this time till next time. Oh, I got to throw this in before we go. How do we not throw in Sir James Galway, the legendary Sir James Galway, who played a little ditty for us and had these words. Dear friend, we were on stage at Carnegie Hall in New York together with Lady Jean Galway, his lovely, lovely bride. And they're in Switzerland. He's originally from Ireland. She's from New York. But he did this, which I thought was something really, really special.
Congratulations, Jim Masters, on your 5th anniversary. It's great to be able to talk to you. And this greeting is coming from Sir James and Lady Galway.
Isn't that incredible? True legend and class act, Sir James Galway, dear friend of ours, and we thank him for that, in case you didn't see it when we aired it. All right, gang, parting is such sweet sorrow, but we never say goodbye around here. We say see you later. So come see us again. We'll be here. We'll keep the porch light on for you as well at the Jim Masters Show. We love having you here. Thanks again for all the love and support. It's amazing. It's duly noted and very appreciated. And don't forget to see us on social media, Facebook, X, and Instagram at Jim Masters TV. All right. That's a wrap for now, but we'll put another great show together for you and air it. And come see us again for that on the Jim Masters Show. We love you all. Be well, everybody. And cheers.